Welcome to the Never Yield podcast. Today is Friday, March 13th, and I would like to thank everybody for listening today. I'll be riding solo tonight. As most of you know, Andrew and his wife, Brooke, welcomed their third child into the world on Tuesday. And as we sit here on Thursday night, I believe they just got discharged from the hospital a couple hours ago. So Andrew obviously has more important things to attend to. Baby and mama are doing good. We're happy for Andrew and family, and hopefully it's a smooth couple nights sleeping for Andrew, and he'll be back with us soon. So happy for the Drakes, and that everything went well with little baby number 3. So tonight will be a short pod for obvious reasons. The Hogs haven't played since our last pod, so there's nothing to break down or anything of that nature. We'll just kind of go over the SEC tournament, the other conference tournaments, how everything's looking. World Baseball Classic, stuff like that. We'll call this the Never Yield Pod Express. How's that? Express episode for the Never Yield Pod. Little 10 or 15-minute quick run around. So anyways, who's ready for the Hogs to play tonight? Finally get some Hog hoops after almost a full week off. Hopefully everybody got rested. Hopefully Darius is feeling good. Obviously he's playing. There's still some people out there wondering if he was going to play, and he would have played Saturday against Missouri if that game would have meant anything. So hopefully they're all feeling good, got their legs well rested, been in the training room, getting those injuries taken care of, and hopefully we get a great product, man. Cal's won this thing a bunch of times, and the mindset, I think, for most of these coaches who are in the tournament is it's not so much worry about the other team. Obviously you're familiar with their personnel because you've already played them all, but you're really just worried about you right now. Whether the Hogs play Oklahoma or South Carolina, they just worry about themselves. They'll do a small scouting report. But they're locked in, 4 or 5 seed, and nothing really is going to change where they sit going into the NCAA tournament. If they were to win 2 games, we'll get in a little more detail in a minute, but I think if they win 2, maybe even 1, I think they could get on that 4 line. Texas Tech lost today by 30 to Iowa State. A bunch of people have Texas Tech as the last 4 seed and the Hogs as the first 5 seed. So common sense would tell us if they're neck and neck and they've played, right, who should get the bump there in the head-to-head matchup. Because obviously Arkansas beat Texas Tech and Dallas early in the year on a neutral. So I see a path for a 4 seed. I do. And I think it'd be nice to get off that 5 seed line, avoid those 5-12s. We'll go over who those possible 12s are in a minute. But why I just don't understand how, in the college football playoff, the Notre Dame and Miami thing, head to head wasn't a factor until they were stacked up right by each other. Well, Arkansas and Texas Tech are supposedly, possibly stacked up right next to each other, according to a bunch of bracketologists. And so head-to-head should matter. And I think the Arkansas should get the bump, because of the head-to-head win. So anyways, back to what we were saying about the SEC tournament. You're just worried about making sure your team's clicking on all cylinders. Maybe add a tweak here on offense, a tweak here on defense. Obviously you want to win the game. You want to win the tournament, obviously. You're playing to win the tournament, but you're just not as deeply into the opponent, especially you'll have less than 24 hours. You have 1 shoot around to prep, and, if you play Texas A&M, they're going to press you the whole game. That's what they do. It's nothing new there. You got Rashawn Agee inside. you know what you're going to see. If you play Oklahoma, who's red hot, boy, they went from last in the SEC to they're on the bubble. They're in the first four out in most of these bracketologies. So they're playing super confident right now. Obviously, Nigel Pack is an issue. I think he hit 5 or 6 threes against the Hogs in Norman when we played him. You got to know where Nigel Pack is at all times. And so, I'm not really sure who we'd rather play. I still think I'd rather play Oklahoma, um, even though they're really hot. And a confident basketball team is dangerous, especially a confident team who's on the bubble trying to play their way into the tournament. Their coach has been on the hot seat all year and was probably for sure going to be fired until they made this run right here. I think they've won 6 out of 8. But I still just get the itch that I'd rather play Oklahoma. It'd be their third game in 3 days. Their legs would have to be getting to them a little bit, you'd think. I'm not scared of A&M by any means, but we'll just have to let the ball be rolled out and see what happens. As I'm filming this on Thursday night, they should be just about to tip off. Let's see here. Just got done watching Ole Miss upset Georgia. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, they just tipped off at 6-6, Oklahoma and Texas A&M. So still a long way to go in that game. Pulling up the bracket here, though, let's talk about the SEC tournament for a minute and kind of talk about how things have played out. Obviously, on day one, there was 4 games. That would have been on Wednesday. Kentucky kind of squeezes by LSU. It was 87-82. I've watched every game, and Kentucky did not look good. They got that first round win though. Auburn beats Mississippi State 79-61 after looking really, really bad most of the game. The last 10 minutes they really pulled away, but Auburn on the bubble somehow. They've been really bad. I don't know how they're on the bubble. They have 15 losses. I don't see how 16 maybe now. I don't see how you can justify putting in a team who's, what are they, 18-16 into the tournament? And we're talking about expanding the tournament? Dude, the bubble's the worst it's ever been this year. I don't understand why we would want to expand the tournament. But Auburn beat Mississippi State. Ole Miss beats Texas. Texas was another bubble team. And luckily for Texas, every other bubble team lost 2 almost in the country. So, I think they're still squarely in the field, maybe as a 10 seed, maybe a 9. But and then Oklahoma beat South Carolina by 12. So that was on a Wednesday night. And then Thursday today. Some good games today. Kentucky and Missouri came down the wire, 78-72. Kentucky pulls out the win. Missouri tied it, took the lead in the second half. It was a really good game to watch. Missouri on the bubble also. A lot of these SEC teams, not making it easy for the selection committee by not pulling out an extra win or 2 to help their resume. But Kentucky moves on, so Kentucky will play Florida today in the first game of the SEC tournament. And then Tennessee beats Auburn. Auburn was up 7 at halftime. Auburn was up several early in the second half, and then Tennessee they'd had enough, and they decided to wake up and turn it on, and they ended up beating Auburn 72-62. So Auburn, Missouri, and Texas are all just kind of in sit back, wait and see mode right now. The ball is in the selection committee's hands, and they just have to hope for the best. So, and then, like I said earlier, Ole Miss, after beating Texas, shows up on Thursday and beats Georgia 76-72. Chris Beard. Listen, Chris Beard, for all of his personal issues and his mistakes he's had in the past, Chris Beard is a elite basketball coach in this country. I don't know what's happened at Ole Miss. It hasn't really worked this year. I mean, they had a pretty good NIL class and, had a couple good hits out of the portal. And for whatever reason, it's been a long year in Oxford, but boy, Chris Beard is one of the best. So he's got them believing right now, and they'll play Alabama in the quarterfinals. Like I said earlier, Tennessee will play Vanderbilt, and then Arkansas waits the winner of Oklahoma and Texas A&M. So a lot of ball's been played, but still a lot of ball to go. Let's talk about what we think the Hogs need to do to win, regardless of who they play. I mean, I think regardless if they play A&M or Oklahoma, I think they're the better team. I think the guards have to be the elite guards that we have. You need these role players to continue to step up. DJ Wagner and Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle, Billy. I don't think Billy needs to keep getting 20 every game like he has been, but, he's a first team all SEC defensive guy. And I think, he needs to be a 15-point guy, 10 to 15, and, 5-6 rebounds and be a great defender. And so I just think Malik and DJ or Malik and Darius, need to do what they've been doing. Obviously, Malik needs to be a high volume shooter. He gets in these habits where he'll only shoot 1 3 in a game. And Malik needs to be shooting 6, 7 threes every game. I don't care if he's open or not. Like Malik getting a 3-point shot off is is always a good thing. So, and then TB, everybody knows TB's kind of the X factor in all this. If he can go get his 14 points and 8 rebounds, I like our chances. If he goes out there and gets 5 points and 3 rebounds, we're probably in trouble. Doesn't matter who we're playing, when, where. So just continuing to build, continuing to improve defensively. Our defense has gotten a lot better, especially our 3-point defense has gotten better as the years went on. So just continuing to guard the perimeter well. Obviously our frontline defense, our big struggle, but that just is what it is. We're going to give up dunks. We're going to give up some easy ones to the bigs. But as long as we're taking away the 3-point line, I think, I think they got a chance to make a run. I really do. How do they bump up a seed line? We talked about it a little bit. I mean, Texas Tech's already lost. Purdue's had a bad couple of weeks. I'm not sure we can jump Purdue. Gonzaga ended up winning their conference tournament, so they're probably locked into that 4 spot. Probably not going to jump Gonzaga. So it's really just Texas Tech, and it's really tough now. There's been so many good, people who they thought would be 12 seeds have already been beat, and they're not going to make the tournament. So the 12 line's not looking as brutal as it usually does, with Belmont losing and Liberty losing and some other teams off the top of my head. I can't think about who they are, but, you're getting some teams that aren't quite as good push up to that 12 line. Now, I still don't want to play South Florida. That matchup scares me. Now, I've seen South Florida predicted as an 11 in a few brackets. And then I really don't want to play Yale. And so that kind of leaves, let me just kind of tell you kind of who that leaves that could possibly fall into that 12 line. If we can avoid South Florida and Yale, okay, you're looking at Akron. You're looking at Murray State. You're looking at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois finished 5th in their league and got hot and won the tournament. Okay, you're looking at someone like High Point, okay, or Hofstra. So I just don't think it's quite, it's crazy to say. I feel like I'm digging a hole here, but I just don't think it's quite as dangerous as it has been. And then you win that, you're going to play a 4 seed, and you could play a Virginia, or a Gonzaga. I'm not scared of Gonzaga. I'm not scared of Virginia. I'm not scared of Purdue. I would prefer not to play Kansas and Darren Peterson. We've already played Texas Tech. I'm not sure. I don't think they'll look at that, but I'm not scared of Texas Tech without JT Toppin, even though I prefer not to play Texas Tech. And then if you do jump into that 4 line, you're looking at playing whoever you replaced. So probably Texas Tech, and you may be seeing a North Carolina, which we've seen them many a times, or St. John's. We played them last year. We talked about how we like to play new teams. Maybe a Wisconsin jumps into that 5 seed, Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The main thing that I'll be curious to see is what 1 seed are the Hogs match up with. Not saying they're going to for sure make the Sweet 16 and play a 1 seed. That's not what I'm saying. But just trying to project, if there is a path to make a deep run, can we avoid Michigan? Can we avoid Florida? Usually it's odd that they would put a 4 and a 5 in the same side as a 1 from your conference, but it's happened. It definitely could happen. But it's rare. But can you avoid Michigan? Yeah, that's the big one. Can you avoid Duke and Cam Boozer? You don't want to play Duke and Cam Boozer in the Sweet 16. You pretty much just want to get lucky and get matched up with Arizona, who's really, really good. But you just feel like if there was 1 seed that you can maybe match up with, it would be Arizona. But man, what a fun time of year. Oh, I just love, 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 love March Madness. Love the NCAA tournament. Love Selection Sunday coming up. Rip Greg Gumbel. It's going to be weird not seeing Greg on the Selection Sunday show. But man, it's my favorite time of year. I just, 11 o'clock, get your popcorn, whatever, get your lunch, and pull that recliner up and watch ball all day from 11 to 11, 12 hours. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be buzzer beaters. Man, it's just electric TV, as you all know. Let's see here. Miami of Ohio. They were undefeated, went through the year, I think 31-0, and then they get beat in their tournament today. And beaten, I think it was semifinals of their tournament, quarterfinals of their tournament. So they're still going to get in. I figure they'll be a 10-ish seed or an 11 seed. So I don't think it'll affect the Hogs. But interesting story to know that they went undefeated through the whole season and then get beat early in their tournament. So it's going to make a ripple effect, I feel like, for these mid-major teams because, they went undefeated in the regular season because they didn't play anybody in non-conference. They don't have any quad 1 wins, 0. I don't think they have any quad 1 losses. So, these mid-major teams, they live on these bye games, going and playing these power 4 teams and getting paid on the road. But if Miami, Ohio has set the precedent that, hey, we can go play a bunch of really small schools and beat up on them and not win our tournament, have a chance to go to the big dance. And that could be an issue in the future for these power 4 schools trying to schedule, these bye games. Anyways, that's where the Hogs sit as we prep for game night tonight. So everybody's hope they're as excited as I am. Hopefully the Hogs can win at least 1, maybe 2, get another shot at Bama in the semis and Florida in the finals, more than likely. Boy, we went Tuesday night. We took our kiddos up to Grubbs and Rogers. They had Billy Richmond and DJ Wagner meet and greet. So that was neat. We got to get some autographs, get some pictures, and it's funny just how seeing these guys' personalities not on the court or not in front of a press media room setting. They're both great. They were smiling all night. We had a booth right beside their table, so we had a great view of them all night until it was our turn to go up there and dapping up every kid, smiling, taking pictures, asking them how they're doing. They weren't just there because they had to be, and you could tell that I'm sure those guys don't love doing that stuff, especially the night before they leave for Nashville. But, um, but bravo to both of them for showing up and smiling and making a bunch of kids' days. That means a lot to those kids. So really, really nice to get to meet Billy and DJ and talk with them for a minute. Both very, very mature, professional, young men, I guess you would call them, which is crazy. Couple other things, state basketball finals in Hot Springs, always a fun time. I know PBS is airing all the games. As we're going on Thursday night right here, I got it on right here. Looks like Barton is hammering Mount Vernon in Ola. Obviously, Barton's been in all kinds of controversy this week with their, boy, I don't know what you call it, their melee they had at Poen. I'm sure everybody's seen it all over the news, but looks like they're gonna get rewarded with a state championship, it appears. So as they continue to pour it on Mount Vernon, but yeah, I just encourage everybody to watch high school basketball finals. Man, it's great, great TV. It's a great time. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into these kids and these teams and these coaches who put in all the hours in the world. And obviously, me being a former coach, it's a lot of very fulfilling whenever you get to do something like that and get to end your season in Hot Springs. So Friday will be the 3 and 4A girls and boys, and then Saturday will be the 5 and 6A. So a lot of fun ball the next 2 days down in Hot Springs. And the last thing is the World Baseball Classic. I know we're all in basketball mode right now, but we still got baseball, man. The World Baseball Classic, almost a disaster for Team USA as they needed some help to get into the to bracket play, but they were able to get in there. They got Canada coming up. Not going to sit here and act like I know Canada's roster, but if they beat Canada, they'll be matched up with more than likely the Dominican. And like I said last pod, that Dominican lineup is nasty, nasty, nasty. So hopefully they'll be pitching Paul Skeens or Tariq Skubal against that lineup, but we'll see. Time will tell. But it's really fun, even if you're not a baseball fan. It's a lot of energy in there. Everybody's wearing their country's colors, holding up their country's flags, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So I definitely, if you want to take a break for some hoops, turn on the World Baseball Classic as it winds down. Diamond Hogs have Mississippi State in town. It's not a ton of excitement around the Diamond Hogs right now. I'm not going to lie to you. It'll get there. We'll get there. But Mississippi State's ranked number 2 in the country. So they better wake up, and they better wake up quick, or Mississippi State will come in here and, win a series on the road, and they better figure it out. Those pitchers got to continue to pitch well and do their thing, and they got to get the bats going, or it could be a long series. It's a tough first series. In the past, we've gotten to play Missouri in the first series, and we start out 3-0 in the SEC every year, pretty much. But it's about as opposite as you can get, going from Missouri to Mississippi State with a new coach, number 2 in the country, like I said. So hopefully Dave Van Horn and the Diamond Hogs can win a series. I think winning 2 out of 3 would be great against Mississippi State. You probably wouldn't even be just real mad if you got one of them. You just can't get swept. So we'll see. All the faith in the world in Dave that he'll be able to get this thing turned around. So anyways, Express Pod, 25 minutes. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Appreciate everybody listening. Hopefully next time we're talking, we'll know where the Hogs are headed, who they're playing, what seed they are. So all that fun stuff. We'll be filling out brackets. We'll fill out a bracket here on the pod and show it, so we can keep up with that. And March Madness is in full swing, favorite time of the year. So anyways, everybody have a great weekend. watch some Hoop Hogs, watch some Diamond Hogs, and hopefully they pulled out some dubs. So that'll wrap it up from here. Woo Pig, go Hogs. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see y'all.